Papa Me channel. How you doing? How you doing? Come on and sit on down because today we're talking about Cyclists. There's one thing I actually hate in this world is Cyclists. I'm sorry if that pertains to one of you, but actually I'm not sorry. Get a new hobby. The constant battle between boomer cyclists, any age cyclists and drivers is an ongoing feud that will never end. For as long as anyone can remember, there has been an endless beef regarding which side causes the most trouble on the road. Is it drunk drivers or is it cyclists swerving in between legs? Maybe he hits the side of your car with his fist because this is my road too, damn it. It's not. I have even had my own gripe with cyclists while I lived in Portland, Oregon. I know, shocker. A person on a bike in Portland, Oregon, smashing your car and being a that's odd. I think we were getting ready to park, following every traffic rule we could have ever done, and it was like the parking spots that are kind of diagonal. And as we were just like pulling into one of the spots, this guy on a bicycle speeds by and he hits the back of my wife's Jeep and he just keeps hitting it like that. He does, look out! And we were pulling into a spot. Like, I don't know what the and ever since then, I'll be honest, I'm a little biased. I've had an issue with cyclists. I think it's a gross hobby. Also, don't act like you're saving the world riding a bicycle. Can I just say that too? I'm a barista and I'm going to my coffee job on my bike, not using fossil fuels. You can't afford a car. Just say that. Can you say that? You're probably just like, I had too many. They took away my license. Don't need a license to ride a bicycle. Whichever side's to blame, one thing's for sure. Things have gotten so heated that both sides are responding in extreme ways. And of course, there's been some viral videos of maybe older bicyclists getting in little heated debates, let's just say, with young drivers. And today I think we're gonna look at where did this feud start, who's in the right, who's in the right, who's in the wrong, and where the hell are we going in the future? And for me, it's gonna be in a car, because I want to get there in one piece. One piece! Which, first off, let's just explain the feud. Cyclists often complain that drivers do not share the road with them or return the same respect they receive on the road. See, already. I'm like, when have you ever seen like a respectful cyclist? They say that there's a lack of instruction in driver's ed about how to properly navigate the road with cyclists present. Because most drivers do not have experience cycling on the road, there's a lack of understanding for the other side. So cyclists are just like, drivers are retarded, and they don't understand that we ride, we pedal, and we have two wheels and not four. They're probably looking at us like we're aliens. I mean, they can't even understand the concept of a bicycle. I doubt it. Drivers, however, say cyclists act like they own the road, refusing to abide by the rules and often slow down all the other drivers. You know what I say to that? Point to the drivers. Is that not true? How many times have you been like, you know, like just waiting, whatever, and there's a guy out there. His ass is all up. Have you seen that video of like the chick with the foamy ass? And people are like, it's normal. I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen foamy ass before in my life, even if it is normal.
A lot of comments are saying that's hot.
Oh, that forbidden sea foam.
Does this annoy anyone else? Get off the road or cycle faster.
You ever take a turn and you just see a cyclist and you're like, here we go. You know what I mean?
All the time.
I wish that sometimes there was purge rules and I got to just like, maybe not tap the brake and maybe just kind of hammer the accelerator down a bit and just see what happens. It's purge day.
Well, there's nothing worse than being in a tractor with a trailer on the back and being stuck behind one of these buggers going up a hill.
Buddy, you can take the tractor around them. At the same time though, you can't be the cyclist and hear like a giant tractor behind you and just be like, this is obnoxious, the amount of bicycles there are. How the f do you get into a place in your life where you're like, gonna meet the guys at a local coffee spot and just see if we can't do 12 miles today? A gang of bicyclists, and they all have the same like nylon fiber outfits with their f***ing alien helmets for wind resistance. You know what I mean? They would argue that the lack of cycling education leads to a lack of arm signaling. Obeying traffic lights, taking up multiple lanes, and blocking cars. Here's the solution. Run them over. Put the credits to the video. It's done. Kill every cyclist. That's my deal. If you ride a bicycle, you deserve to die. That's the video. This disconnect has led to a long-standing hatred that can sometimes result in irrational hostility and violence. I think it might be rational. But let's get into a little viral clip you may have seen recently. It tickled me to no end. A little tickle me Elmo kind of action. It was Gary Peacock and Pierce Kimpton in a viral video. 74-year-old cyclist Gary Peacock took matters into his own hands by detaining 22-year-old driver Pierce Kimpton. A cyclist did a citizen's arrest. Father Time got off of his bicycle and performed a fucking citizen arrest on a 22-year-old. Peacock claimed that Kempton nearly hit him with his car trying to pass him on the road. When Kempton parks his car to skateboard with his friend, he finds that Peacock has followed him to give him a piece of his mind. He's just like, you son of a bitch, and cycles after him. In the video, Kempton speaks to Peacock from inside his car, claiming that he gave the cyclist enough room. Peacock then aggressively opens the car door and fights to keep it against Pierce.
I've got a very aggressive teenager here that almost hit me in the car.
When Kempton tries to get out, he is held back and told he's not leaving until police show up and demand they give him a ticket. He tells Kempton, quote,
If I have it my way, you're going to jail.
which, you know, I just want to say, I would understand getting a little spooked, you know, somewhere like, holy shit, whatever, but to then be like, you motherfucker, and like to be angry, that whole like to follow him and then still just be like, you're going to jail. A bit of an overreaction. Nothing happened. Right? Eventually, the police arrive to break up the confrontation. The officer quickly decides that not only will Kempton be fined $130 for being too close to the cyclist on the road, but Peacock will also receive a $160 fine for disorderly conduct.
Why am I getting, for what?
Because you were aggressive to him.
Peacock insists that he should have a right to detain someone until police arrive. The officer lectures him like a child and tells him that he's being too aggressive to the child. You're 74, he's 22. What are you thinking?
Criminal citation?
Yes. Yes. Because that behavior is criminal. You don't get to act like that to people.
Peacock gets riled up, frantically trying to explain that he no longer wants to press charges now, that it means he has to get a citation. But it's too late. The officer is fed up. What did this solve? Nothing. Both people got in trouble. I don't like that.
The cop says, I'm giving you this fine, but once the court sees the footage, it's going to go away.
Oh, okay, so he's just like, you know what? I'm going to give you this because this geriatric old is driving me insane, but don't worry. I just want to bring this point up because I have made it very clear that my rage for cyclists knows no bound. And I'm going to try to give you some facts and mostly opinions, on why you should share the same hatred too. I'm angry, and you should be too! Drivers may have irrational anger towards cyclists, but how can you not want to pick on people like this, dude? People say, oh, you're talking, but you look like that. Oh, really? Well, do I look like this? Yeah, I don't, all right? I'm not a big advocate for judging people with how they look, but if you're a cyclist and you wear those goofy-ass outfits, I think it's free game. Is it not? I have to do it. I must. See, this is the problem, dude. This is the fucking problem. People get so bought into dumb hobbies and everything else, they have to make it their entire identity, especially when it comes to, and I'll say it, dude, as a fat piece of shit, people who make like some kind of working out their entire identity, worst people. It's the same way I look at people making like, I don't know, a show. Remember when The Office was a whole thing and that became people's identities was The Office, or like Harry Potter, anime? It's the same stuff. The athletes or people that do these things hold the notion over that it's like, yeah, I don't think I could really live without it, and I'm just a lot healthier because of it. Does that make sense? Is that a good?
So you're saying you don't like people who commit their life to sports?
That's not what I said. You can commit your life to a sport. I have more respect for you if you can. I'm saying when you make it your personality. The people wearing the alien helmet, nylon fiber outfits, and they're going on a trail ride, and they're not competing, who is that for? Other than for you to be like, I'm a part of the clan. I'm a part of the tribe. If that doesn't make any sense, don't keep it in the video. I'm just saying my gripes. In 1992, a man named Carlson was fed up with how aggressive cyclists were treated. It was common to have insults hurled at you, and in some cases, even being bumped on the road. Good citizen. He decided to take to the streets alongside a giant group of cyclists to ride home, using the strength in numbers to force cars to let them have the road. This is what became known as critical mass. But what exactly is critical mass? Critical mass became a long-standing monthly cycling event where hundreds of cyclists would gather and flood the streets. It was essentially a party that traveled in a group across the city. Are you on my side yet? A petty group of 100 cyclists, 100 baristas getting together and being like, we're gonna go throughout the whole street. All of them. I don't care. During rush hour. People just work 9 hours. I don't care. Gotta get my cardio in. And they have to suffer. It took place on the last Friday of every month. The last Friday of every month! You have to rearrange your plans for the cyclist in the city, okay? The main goal of critical mass is to essentially send a message to drivers that the streets belong to more than just them. Because of this, part of the event is to irritate drivers for being selfish and for not sharing the space. By being selfish and being a petty piece of shit who has to dress in the nylon thing with the alien helmet and ride around with their gay friends. Keep the gay in. I'm saying gay is not cool, not homosexual, Nick. This is likely because there was no proper accommodating infrastructure to allow cyclists to travel safely alongside traffic. Probably because when people were building cities, they never thought, God, there's gonna be freaks roaming the streets on 2 wheels, riding around. Everyone else in the world is in cars. Anything for bikes, that person was probably stoned to death. Anybody back in the day who was like, what about bikes? What about bicycles? They probably took one of those, like, the stone slings and they're like, you know what I mean? Whoosh. It was common for them to completely take over the road, getting in the way of any driver who happened to be near them. So petty. Like a guy's just driving, they're just like, ooh, I'm turning! They even created their own move called corking, which is when you and other cyclists purposely cut off intersections to allow the swarm to push through safely and uninterrupted. Corking! My God, there's even a diagram of how it's done. I want to reiterate, I don't care if you ride bicycles. If a guy's like, sure, man, I'll go. Like mountain biking or whatever, you know how hard that must be? Insane. Imagine a guy's like, sure, yeah, I love riding. Yeah, that's cool. Where are we going? Downtown. Have you corked yet? Critical mass is no longer practiced as much today, except for a few cities here and there like San Francisco, where it originated from. That's odd. Probably Portland. While this event had a clear purpose, it likely caused several unknowing drivers encountering it to further deepen their personal hatred of cyclists.
Oh shit.
Way to go. Yeah, exactly. This is where some serious hatred, especially whenever you are driving home, to be inconvenienced in any way on your drive home from work. That's where some real shit starts, dude. That's where real hatred starts. And one of the major reasons it's not here anymore was the 1997 critical mass disaster. The bigger the critical mass became, the longer that drivers had to sit and wait when they eventually blocked their intersection. This resulted in the hatred of cyclists to grow bigger and bigger. This all came to a head in 1997 during critical mass, when around 5,000 cyclists began their usual monthly ride. 5,000. San Francisco police approved this and created an approved route that they would be allowed to travel on, strongly urging them to use it. They're like, you know what? 5,000 freaks on bikes. Sure. Alien helmets, your suits, whatever else you want to have, leotards, foams, whatever else you guys want to have. Just use this route, please, would you, please? But they opposed to this, and it was decided that the police would attempt to fully shut down the event. This led to thousands of cyclists breaking off into groups, essentially swarming the entire city and creating hours of widespread traffic in an attempt to avoid being herded by the police. If you are not a cyclist hater, how are you still not by now? Drivers and cyclists were at each other's throats. People were screaming, throwing things, and spitting at each other. Hundreds of cyclists were being arrested, some in brutal fashion. Love that. Love this. Man, I wish we had some B-roll. I wish we had from this event just a guy with a billy club just being like, stop it! Dragging a guy off his like mongoose bike. Just hitting his shins real hard. Is that wrong? Is that too much?
No.
While it was incredibly dangerous and chaotic, it actually pushed the city to create bike lanes and help cyclists share the space with drivers. If this was a form of protest, it definitely succeeded. That's why I have zero respect for San Francisco. The 3 main reasons I hate San Francisco: 1, the Giants; 2, the Golden Gate Bridge. Too many people jump off of it. Just figure that out. 3, they really help push bicycle lanes. And for that, I think that the city should be burned to the ground. Thank you. And good night. Okay. Or we can talk about something cool like in 2011, when a critical mass event in Brazil ended in tragedy as a driver drove his car through a massive group of cyclists. You push people to the brink, Nick. You push them to the edge. This man responsible was a 47-year-old man named Ricardo Nice, who was fed up of being held up by the group. He claimed that nearby participants were threatening to flip over his car and that he sped away from them in an act of self-defense. Another cyclist who witnessed the event claimed that Ricardo simply wanted to get past them and that he was in fact the person dishing out threats. I'm gonna go on a limb here and definitely say Ricardo was probably in his car and he's just like, fucking move! And after he didn't respond, he's like, it. He just, you know what I mean? 16 people were caught in the crash and many were left with severe injuries. Luckily, nobody died. I will say at the beginning of the video, I don't condone this. I know I'm joking around a lot, but I want to say that the way that they were, it was too much of a leisurely stroll. If it was another thing too, if it was like they're really going at it, they're going fast, I think it'd be a different thing. It just seems like complete and utter protest of like, we're gonna take our time, right?
That's what it is. It's always a protest.
Why do I feel like you have a bicycle?
No.
I could definitely see you being a cyclist, dude. That's f***ed up. Or we could talk about when a furious driver bit a cyclist's ear. Now we're getting to the part of the video that I like. In 2009, a driver named Curtis Cross from Indiana got into a heated exchange with Jeffrey Guffey, a cyclist. The alternation ended with Curtis biting off a chunk of his earlobe. God damn! Curtis had been driving fast on the road in his pickup truck when Jeffrey yelled at him to slow down. Already, dude. Dude, cyclist, don't act brave. If you have a guy from Indiana in a like double F-250, slow down, asshole. You better believe them brake lights are coming on. You know what I mean? After being flipped off, Curtis abruptly parked his truck and charged towards Jeffries. Just grabbed him. What started as a fight between the two ramped up fast. According to Jeffrey, he struck him to the ground and proceeded to bite his ear off and spit the chunks out directly in his face. Awesome. Curtis' lawyer claimed it was self-defense and his use of force was justified. Well, you know. Curtis was ultimately released from jail with a $3,200 bond. Curtis looks like a guy that would bite somebody's ear off.
Have you ever rid your bike and someone got mad at you?
No, because I am on a bike. If I was ever in someone's way, I'd be like, oh, sorry about that. Or in 2007, police arrested 34-year-old Yonan Inouye after he stabbed a driver during a heated fit of rage. In the middle of a busy intersection, a male driver cut off Yonan as he was cycling beside him. Enraged, he caught up to the car and began a verbal confrontation. When both of them stopped to argue, Yonan suddenly pulled out a screwdriver and began to stab the man in the neck and face through the window. He was charged with aggravated assault and assault causing bodily harm. The victim was sent to the hospital with injuries that, while severe, were not life-threatening.
Got stabbed in the f***ing neck and
Got stabbed him 6 or 7 times, and he's just like, I'm good, I'm fine. In 2008, 2 people were brutally injured after an irritated driver was fed up with driving alongside cyclists in a city. Don't blame him. Christopher Thompson, a surgeon, he's even a doctor, Nick. He's a doctor, a learned man. Thompson was sick and tired of sharing the road with cyclists in his home, going so far as to tell police later on that he wanted to, quote, teach them a lesson. This is a learned man, a surgeon, all right? How many years of medical school he had to go through to be in this? Do you think he's level-headed? I think he is. No, I think he is. To do this, he purposely passed the 2 of them in his car before slamming on the brakes. He brake checked him. This caused Ron to slam his face onto the back window, resulting in breaking his front teeth and nose, as well as slashing his face. Christian, however, had his shoulders separated, and he tumbled onto the road. How sick would it be if he got out of his car, though, and he gave him his surgeon thing? He's like, I can clear that up for you. Puts it in his pocket. In an attempt to gain sympathy, Thompson assured the judge that he was merely frightened by the cyclist and wanted photos of their suspicious behavior. I agree. He's a learned man, Nick. Don't act, Nick. You look very confused.
I
was afraid too. I've been afraid of cyclists. It makes sense to me. I think he's gonna get out of this okay. This was not received well. He had already been convicted of an aggressive encounter with 2 other cyclists only days prior. Poor guy had hate in his heart, bloodshed. In 2010, he cried his eyes out as he apologized to the 2 cyclists before being sentenced to 5 years in prison. I think it's a bit steep for bicyclists, really. Hopefully no one needs a surgeon for their heart. Or in 2022, Mark Gringle had an altercation with an insane driver that ended up with him in a wheelchair. In Ravensdale, Washington, Gringle was training for an Ironman triathlon. While cycling on the road, a car sped past him and just barely ran into him. And Gringle admits to flipping off the man as he flew by, and the driver reacted by parking his car to prepare for an altercation. If you ever feel wronged in your life, it's okay. You don't need to flip anybody off, especially if you're, I'm not to be sexist or anything, if you're a woman and you like flip off a crazy guy, you have no idea. You have no idea what could happen. Happened to my wife. I was so upset when she's like, yeah, a guy ran past and I flipped him off. A guy just like ran into her, it broke off the fucking front bumper of her car and he drove away. We never even knew who he was. If you ever just slided, bury it deep and yell something in your head, but just let it slide. You never know where someone's at with teetering on the verge of insanity. You could have a guy, you could flip somebody off, he just gets out and beats you to death with a pipe. Just let it be, dude. Let kids have their, because they're like, hey, I win. But then they have to go home to their pathetic life inside their own mental prison. So who really wins? Gringle began panicking and tried to pass by the car quickly. As he attempted to, he was brutally assaulted to the point of losing consciousness. Wait, so what is that? What does that mean? He's like, oh, he get grabbed? What happened? His pelvis, collarbone, and ribs were broken. My God, his lung was punctured as well. Just let people just go. My God. He was bound to a wheelchair for several months. He stayed hopeful that he would recover sooner and be able to cycle once again, but the man responsible for the hit and run was nowhere to be found. Dang it. Darn it. I hate that. I'm sure they'll find him one day. Or in 2024, 2 cyclists were chased down and shot at during a charity event. Cyclists took part in a 16-mile ride to end hunger charity event.
What?
a 16-mile ride to end hunger. I think by the end of this, there's going to be a lot of full bellies. Let's go, guys. Which angered 66-year-old David Earl Buston. He was fed up with the cyclists taking up room on the road, getting in the way. He quickly swerved around them, attempting to force them off the road. Instead of going on about his day, he decided to get back at them for inconveniencing him. Buston parked his car and loaded a Winchester Model 1300 shotgun. He shot 3 rounds toward the passing cyclist and missed every shot. He was found by police and taken into custody, later being charged with first-degree assault and reckless endangerment. What a f***ing dipshit. How can you be that angry? Like, don't get me wrong, I hate cyclists, don't get me wrong, but to pull over and just be like, I'm gonna kill him. And then you go about, you miss every shot. What are you, a f***ing moron? My God. And lastly, in 2017, cyclist John Weisenberger was nearly run over by an enraged driver after confrontation on the road. 55-year-old Matthew Engel had turned onto the street to find Jan taking up the center of the lane. Furious, Engel pulls up next to him and begins screaming at him. After a heated back and forth, Engel drives past him only to put the car in reverse and attempt to run the man over. As Jan tells him he's on camera, the enraged driver screams that he's going to get his shotgun and shoot his head off before driving away.
Get out of the town! All of you little bastards!
You're on camera.
Get the hell out!
You're on
I'll get
camera.
shotgun and shoot your head
You're on
off.
camera.
Get out!
You're on
Get out!
camera,
Get
motherfucker.
out!
Come here.
That's the opposite reaction. You're on camera. Cool. I'm gonna murder you on camera. Matthew Engel has been charged with reckless driving and declines to comment on what took place that day. He was risking facing up to 90 days in prison for his violent actions. He was thrown out after Engel proved to be taking anger management classes. Wow. So he's just like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And the judge is just like, it's fine. He's taking anger management classes. He didn't really do it, did he? Here's the thing. Drivers and cyclists have been in an ongoing feud for a very long time. And it seems silly to put blame on one side or the other, which we will. Cyclist. The truth is that there are asshole drivers and there are asshole cyclists out there. And both groups need to be more active in effort to try to share the road with each other. I think personally, you need a new hobby, okay? A 4-ton vehicle is gonna beat a 120-pound man on a bicycle. Whatever happened to mountain biking, right? Whatever happened to trails? Now we have to do it like, dude, I have to get my fix around my neighborhood. 5 p.m. I got up real early from a coffee job. I don't know why I keep bringing the barista thing. I think it's just because the guy that hit the side of my wife's car, I'm pretty sure he was a barista. He had like a coffee house shirt thing on, whatever.
Had a Starbucks apron on.
Definitely, there's no way they'd be Starbucks. It has to be some local thing where a cup of coffee costs $9, etc., etc. All I know is this: cyclists are one of the more annoying, I don't know, subsects of people out there, right? You have gym people who can be annoying in gyms and try to be the alpha in situations, but when it comes to people getting in full-fledged assaults, you know, people shooting guns at each other, granted all those are the car drivers, but I think it's more so it's just the idea of feeling like you're going to inconvenience someone just because you're on a bike. They need to share the road on either side, right? So this is what I gotta say. If anything, this has became more of a road rage video. I would say if at the end of the day, if you feel like somebody slighted you, swallow that pride. Going home and relaxing, hey, give it 10 minutes, you're gonna feel totally fine. Don't ruin the rest of your life over a second of anger that pushes you to do something that you're probably gonna regret for the rest of your life. And also, run over every cyclist you see on the road. All I gotta say is that's my video for today. If you get on a bike, be careful out there. Take it easy.
All right, goober. Let go of my camera, goober. Let go of my camera, goober. Get that out of my face. Don't touch my camera, goober. Get that out of my face. I don't think so. I'll leave it right there, goober. All right, goober. Nice outfit, too.
Yeah, you wish you could work as hard as I can.
Right.